What's going on there, folks? Good afternoon. It's the Earth Master here on the live stream on this beautiful Tuesday, August 16th date, 2022. It's about 11:50 a.m. California time, so technically still morning, but pretty close to the afternoon time frame. Latest quake shows a 2.4 into the area of California. Looks like right around the Bay Area. We have seen some further uptick in movement here along the western coast, some movement up into the northern California as well. Also into Mexico, it looks like, and the Middle America Trench. Look at that. Quite a bit of activity stretching down here throughout the region. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into some activity first with the latest update on the Taʻū Volcano in the Samoa Islands area. Of course, this earthquake swarm has been continuing now, for a few days. It doesn't look like there has been any major changes noted throughout this area. Looks like on August, when it was about the 13th, started receiving some earthquakes, about 30 to 60 earthquakes per hour. Most events are too small to be felt. Looks like they were between 2 and 3. Looking at the live seismograph, and you guys can do this as well, they do have at least one decent seismograph station in the area, but that's about it. It's very sporadic in terms of monitoring the seismic activity around the Samoa regions, and more specifically where this earthquake swarming is taking place here. So this one right here, it's the RS Data View Beta, the raspberryshake.org site. I know a lot of folks here on the YouTube community, when they cover earthquakes and whatnot, utilize the Raspberry Shake for their live data and whatnot, but I tend to go with a different program. But we are limited right now in terms of what we have access to out there. So there's one site here. I don't know what's going on with this one. It is around the Samoa area. It did not look like this yesterday, so I'm not for sure what's going on with that sporadic activity like that. It looks chaotic. This is raspberryshake.org site here, is kind of a if you watch a live stream, kind of looks similar to what I run on the live stream as far as the seismograph data comes in, although this can record back 24 hours or even further if you want to look at a time zone, time frame of earthquake activity. And as you can see here, it is current up to the current UTC time right now, which is, let's see what the UTC time, 1850 or so. So we're within that time frame area. I do want to point out a couple earthquakes here, which is kind of within the last couple hours. See these two spikes here? You can kind of zoom in on these and get a better view of the graph on a more higher amplitude scale here, which gives the earthquake a little bit more prominent look. See that? Pretty well defined. A lot of times you can figure out if this is harmonic tremor or volcanic in nature. For now, most of the activity that is kicking up here in this area is definitely earthquake activity, but I think there's volcanic nature behind it for sure. Some of these earthquakes getting a little bit on the bigger side over the last hour or so, but definitely you can see here on the map, at least on this graph here. Let me pull up the recent one. I'm still trying to figure out the Raspberry data process here. I'm not used to it, but looking into it. Definitely looking into it, trying to figure it out. There's a couple different cool things you can do, with all these graphs here from the Raspberry Shake data view, but I don't know them all yet. So work with me on that as I work with these and kind of get a better understanding of how this program works. But looking at the recorded data, not only these bigger ones are showing up here on this seismograph station around the Taʻū Volcano and the Samoa Islands, but some of these smaller ones as well. Look at these little quakes. They're all earthquakes, and if you take a little that little data viewer and amplify it a little bit, you can still see those earthquakes on a little bit more higher amplitude scale here. But far as concerning the exact magnitude here, I am not for sure if this program actually gives out the correct magnitude. I'm going to have to look into that. So, for example, if we were to cover this one here, let's go right about here, this earthquake. You know, is that going to be a 4-pointer up here or a 3-pointer? It's hard to tell on this one. So if you guys know anything about this, it'd be kind of cool to learn a little bit more. I'm going to be studying this throughout the through the afternoon and evening time frame today. But yeah, but far as discovering and trying to figure out the exact magnitude of these earthquakes, I don't know if there's a specific way on this raspberryshake.org data viewer. So kind of cool. But yeah, again, looking back, there's definitely some earthquake swarming going on, still continuing today. We'll see if they put out any type of newer update. This was put out, looks like it was put out today, August 16th. They've been pretty consistent, although looking right here, looks like this was published yesterday. So we'll wait and see if anything gets reported. Looks like folks have been reporting a booming noise August 10th, and that to me is definitely either earthquake related or volcanic activity underneath. These guys could say that it's rock falls, ground cracking, volcanic noise, and human-caused events. But it looks like they are deploying some infrasound microphones in the coming weeks to capture and analyze noises in the region. That could definitely help out the folks there too, realizing or maybe understanding what's going on with this swarm and these weird noises that's going on. So just kind of watching it, seeing how it plays out. Again, I'll leave this web page, the link to this page, in the update of this video below in the description. I think it's kind of cool to check out if you guys are curious as to what's happening out there around the Samoa. It's a shield volcano with rift zones to the northeast and northwest, very similar to the Hawaii type deal. Volcanoes in American Samoa are similar to those in Hawaii. If activity escalates to an eruption, these guys got a scenario. It will most likely include slow-moving lava flows or low-level eruptions of lava that are localized to a small area. So, and then again, a very large eruption like the Hunga volcano earlier this year, you know, that explosion, it's extremely unlikely, as is a different type of volcano. So, either way, it's kind of a new deal, right? We're kind of looking at this in light of things. It's kind of a new opportunity to monitor and watch what's going on with this ongoing swarm there at the Taʻū Volcano region in the Samoa. All right. Earthquake activity, there it is, kind of ramping up a little bit there along the western coast. Now notice on the EMS, or at least on the Earthquake 3D globe, we've seen some earthquake activity kind of stretching into Mexico, down through the Middle America Trench, into portions of South America. USGS not showing that at all. We will check out the EMSC model here in just a little bit, because I do believe that's pretty important, and I'm not for sure why they're not showing that out there. So, okay, the activity they are showing is right now confined mostly here to the segment of the San Andreas Fault just north of the creeping section. Looks like that is on it is on the creeping section here, close to the Santa Cruz Mountain section. A couple twos kicking off here over the last hour and overnight as well. Up here in the Northern California, we did have some further movement into the mountain region. Looks like 32 kilometer deep, 2.4. What is that? The Somes Bar, California region. That's a deep earthquake for this area, 32 kilometers down there. That's telling me that it is into the subduction zone of the Cascadia. So we're still seeing some activity down there, well below Northern California. Also some activity throughout Nevada and the Ridgecrest area. Long Valley Supervolcano only showing a little activity today. Nothing spectacular in terms of swarms right now. And the southern part of the state is starting to dwindle away with activity. Only a couple quakes here over the last couple hours, and very small ones. No major swarms to report in Southern California at all. The rest of the country, some movement up against the hills here around the Cedar, Utah area, and older movement out in Texas from last night. Nothing recently to report across the area. Puerto Rico region seeing quite the cluster of quakes out here. Although this movement was from earlier this morning, about 5-6 hours ago, maybe more than that, 7 hours ago, in the area. So very early morning hours, but we've come to a halt in terms of activity right there for now in the Puerto Rico area. Looking at Hawaii, got some movement out around the Pahala region once again, and some activity up around the Kilauea volcano. Lava activity continuing there at the crater. Confined to the Lava Lake region, and that's just been an ongoing event for quite a while now, and I'm sure that will continue. No major changes expected. Looking at the broader view, we did see a little increase in activity up here around our little watch zone, although not the activity we're kind of watching for. This area is definitely underneath my eyeball, so to speak, because we haven't seen any larger movement up here in quite some time. A couple 4s and 5s and a little cluster kind of at the southern end of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Most of it shallow, around the 10-kilometer depth there for the default. Largest one so far in this cluster of quakes around the Kuril Islands, a 5.1. So just watch this area pretty closely. Nothing going on throughout the Mariana Trench or the around the Taiwan, Japan area. Philippines dying off as well, far as earthquake activity goes. And looking at this movement down into the Tonga region and the Kermadec Trench, all mostly from last night. We did have a 5.0 this morning in the Papua New Guinea area. Looks like about 53 kilometers, but moving up here kind of on the older side. So we'll watch that for some further development throughout the day today. Let me check out the EMSC model here as we just want to verify and see what's going on here with the quakes that are not being reported from the USGS. There's that trail of quakes. Those are all 4s, and those should be noted on the USGS map, but they're not, and I'm not for sure why, because there's definitely a lot of activity throughout the Middle America Trench stretching up towards the west coast of the state. So it's very noteworthy when you see this type of linear event up and down a major plate boundary that things could be getting rolling up here around the California area. So again, I don't know why the USGS does it. It's Tuesdays, not Mondays, not the weekend. Come on, guys, get on with the ball. One earthquake over here around the Indonesia area, the last one on the map of 4.7 occurring just a short time ago there in that region. And yeah, so definitely keep an eye on the west coast with this type of movement kicking up. Yellowstone National Park, we'll go ahead and check out the swarm, or if there is any. Right now things look a little calm. Only a couple small microquakes this morning and overnight. Nothing spectacular kicking up here across the board. Solar weather event is the main story right now. We're starting to really get things ramping up here on the solar flare activity and also the coronal hole movement, or coronal hole activity, I should say. Looking at the solar flare detection chart here, shows a pretty large M flare that kicked up here overnight. What was that, an M6.5, I believe? Well, they got an M5. I guess where we had a little bit, I thought that was a little bit larger here, but either way, activity definitely ramping up here over the last 24 or 48 hours, as we've seen. Well, this marks number 3, right, of the M flare so far, and we're still crackling like crazy in the C flare department. And that all is coming from, I believe, 3078 and 3081. That's going to be these sunspots right here. 3081, 3078. This one here is getting its ball going a little bit. Notice the closeness there of the colors, indicating the magnetic fields there kind of getting comfy together there, and that could create a couple sparks and maybe another M flare or so. 3081 is growing, and we'll watch that one as well. A couple new sunspots developing here around the eastern section of the sun, and like I said, things are really getting going in terms of the flare activity right now. We do have to watch this coronal hole and any subsequent CMEs that a flare may produce. Right now they're still calling for a G2 class storm. Looks like on the 18th time frame. We'll see if that comes to play. Also, G1 storm looks like on the 17th, so things going to get pretty active up there around the northern latitudes and possibly the mid latitudes for the auroras. And again, that could be amplified if we get any further flaring with a directly Earth-related or Earth-directed CME. We'll keep our eyes on that for sure. Right now, 99% chance certainty, right? That is certain because we are up in that category of a C flare. M flare stands at about 30% chance. They have elevated the X flare up to 10. So we'll watch that pretty closely. I think the 10% chance, at least looking at this, should be coming from 3078. We can watch these here and see what the probability details are. 3078 looks like the 15 or 5% chance for an X flare right here. That does hold the likelihood, or at least the highest possibility of seeing an X flare. There is that moderately strong M flare from 3078 this morning. Doesn't look like there was a noteworthy CME that was associated with this event, so we'll try it again when it comes up, which I think is pretty soon, because things are still crackling like the popcorn on the stove or in the microwave, however you cook it. Definitely popping up there right now. All right, current conditions on the KP index, they're pretty low across the board, but of course that will be amplified. Looks like tomorrow's time frame. And yeah, we'll see what happens, see how it goes from there. Speed right now way down there, kind of diminishing. Density on the protons and whatnot pretty low. Everything looks pretty stable for now as we look at the solar wind stream conditions there. Real quick check of the fire maps in Northern California. It is pretty smoky out here today. We're getting a lot of the smoke here in the Sacramento Valley from the fires up here. These four fires. The McKinney fire, which is now pretty well put out, 95% contained. This is the one I was on a couple weeks ago. Went up there and took some video, some documentation there on a story I was doing. And it looks like they're getting that under control. Unfortunately, there was a lot of damage and whatnot from that fire. So we're getting a lot of upper wind development here, blowing all this smoke down into the region where I live here outside of Chico in Northern California. These fires here are burning out in some heavily wooded areas. And there's a couple different ones out here. These were all started by fire or lightning. And as you can see, they're all over the place. 0% containment out there in some heavily wooded areas. And I think these things are going to be burning for a little while unless we can get some major rainfall expected here. But that's not likely. In fact, these are probably going to get worse. We're expecting some very hot conditions, over the next 10 days or so. I mean, it's supposed to be 109 degrees here today. Good Lord. 112, I think it said here on Friday. Man, I need to get me a plane ticket and head somewhere else. Way somewhere else. Way far away from California. I keep saying that. I'm hoping one day somebody will buy me a nice plane ticket there so I can get out of here. Better buy two because Missy Mimi's has to come with me. So, all right, guys. Have a good day. Again, if anything changes out here with the Taʻū Volcano activity, we'll definitely provide updates here. But this link to this seismograph station will be included. I really tried to find a station for the live seismograph viewer here that I use, but I could not find one. And the ones that are up around the Samoa area are not functioning. So just have to keep an eye on that Raspberry Shaker and see if there's anything big coming through there. Of course, if anything big does come through, like a 4 or 5, that should be noted on the agencies that report the earthquake data to the catalogs there. So that would be on the globe. But for now, we'll utilize what we have here for the live seismograph stations. As this app's kind of cool. I like it. It's a live data coming in. It's you can't really go back too far in terms of watching what happened hours ago on here, but it's I like using it. It's more of a live feature here for the live channel. So kind of what I like. A lot of times earthquakes come into these seismograph stations and up on the stream well before a notification gets put out. So all right, guys, have a good day. Stay safe out there. Again, as noted here on the globe, definitely seen a trend of earthquake activity uptick along the well, South America region northward up towards the California area. So keep an eye on that. Have a good day. Stay safe. We'll chat you guys a little bit later on tonight with the update. Peace out, guys.